Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I see so many familiar faces in chat. Sam and Vincent and Anna and Lost and Monir. It's good to see all of you folks. We are just about to get started on the first Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge of the week. I'm your host, VooDoo Val, and I'm super pumped because usually I'm in chat. You guys probably recognize me, and sometimes I get to host. But today I'm very excited to be able to design with you folks. If you folks are return viewers and you've been here before, then you probably know the drill. The Photoshop Creative Challenge is kind of a cool way for everyone to jump in and get involved in some cool design challenges, to test their skills and maybe add some skills to their repertoire of design. If you guys have never been here before, then let me show you what we have in store. If you guys head over to behance.net/daily creative challenge, you'll see the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge info here on this tab. You basically, as it says, build your Photoshop skills in just 9 challenges, and you can click here to register for the challenge if you're interested in following along with me today, as well as get access to some pretty cool assets and things that will unlock for you every day that we progress. You guys can join the Discord at the bottom of the page so that you can share your awesome designs and things that you create along with me. And I believe we're going to be showcasing and highlighting some pretty cool designs that you guys create with us throughout the week too. So I'm gonna pull up the Discord just in case you folks are not familiar with Discord. Very similar to the Slack, but you guys can jump in here, you guys can introduce yourselves, share your work here in all of our channels. I can jump in and kind of show you the introduction channel where everyone who's new pops in, lets everyone know that they're here and what they do, and then you guys can show your work that you create along with me in the design feedback channel here. And every day, actually, throughout this creative challenge, I'm going to be in the Discord taking a look at all of the wonderful things that you guys create, and also adding maybe some comments and feedback for you guys so that we can all improve and grow together. Hello, Christine. It's good to see you. Good to see you too, Sam and Tim. Yes, they did actually lure me in here with promises of Star Wars figurines and stuff. I had no idea that I was going to be designing today. But it's good to see you guys. If you folks have not already, you guys can go and download the template that I have supplied for you for this first challenge today, and then we can get started. We can jump right into it. Today, what we're going to be working on is a kind of promo, perhaps for a Photoshop event or anything that you guys want, really. The basic plan for all of these challenges is that you guys will be able to create things that you can use for your online branding, because many of you folks are freelance, or maybe some of you aren't freelance, but you're working on detailing and working on your creative presence online. A lot of us have Twitters and Instagrams and Facebooks and things where we like to post our work, and it's always nice to make some things that help make that presence look a little more professional. So I'm going to pull up my Photoshop here, where I actually have the template that I have created for you. If you don't want to use the template, or you would like to create a project today that actually is different than the specifications that I've laid out, you can actually just open your Photoshop and go to File, New, which will pull up the new document window here. And once it populates here like this, you guys can either select from a new custom file here that they have set up, or you can actually type the specifications in that you prefer here. You can switch from pixels, inches, centimeters, millimeters, points, and picas, depending on what you guys are looking to do, and set any other settings that you prefer. Today, though, since I have the template, I'm going to work with the template for those of you who are following that closely. What we're going to do is we're going to create, like I said, a Facebook event promo. And I'm going to sort of make an announcement card of some kind with a nice frame around it without actually making a frame. Just kind of like a cool, fancy, pretty little design here. And this is how I'm gonna do it. I'm actually gonna utilize the frame tool for this, which is one of my new favorite tools that I've been adding to my workflow recently. And I'm gonna drag an image into my file here. And you guys can use whatever image you want, whatever theme that you're going for, you guys can choose something, but I've chosen this cool sort of inspirational mountain range image, and I'm just gonna center this. You guys can actually pretty easily center things on your file just by kind of using the guides that pop up here. If you guys don't actually have the pink guides that show up over the top of your image whenever you're centering things, you guys can just do Command or Control H, and that will hide or make them visible. Hello, Huxel, good to see you. Hi, Howard. And you can just place it there. I'm gonna hold Alt real quick, and I'm actually going to resize this to take up my canvas. Holding Alt allows me to make sure that when I'm resizing things, it's all symmetrical. It pulls from all sides and ends, instead of just resizing one side and then resizing the other side. And I'm gonna hit Enter and go ahead and place that in there. And then now I'm going to snag my handy dandy frame tool. You can either select it from the sidebar there, or you folks can press K, which will select it. And I'm going to drag out a frame. And you can actually hold space if you'd like to reposition this while you're working here, which is pretty cool, pretty easy. And I am going to place it like so. I'm actually going to switch this to the rectangle because we don't want to be using the ellipse tool. So I'm going to do Control Z or Command Z if you're on a Mac. And I'm actually, I forgot to make sure I locked my layer here because we want to make sure that when we drag that frame, it doesn't try to frame the image that's underneath the tool. So again, I'm going to make sure I have the square frame tool selected, and I'm going to drag that out, and I'm going to place it with the spacebar here. There we go. And you can even free transform with Command or Control T to kind of move this frame around if it's not in the place that you prefer, and hit Enter. And then I'm going to drag the same image, or a different image if you prefer, over into the frame. Boom. And if I select the image here, I can do Command T or Control T to free transform, and I can actually rotate this in, which is kind of a cool effect. You can rotate it around, and it doesn't alter the shape or size of the image in the frame if you don't want it to. It just keeps that image right where you set your frame, which is really awesome. It's kind of a cool way to do this sort of thing without inserting into a selection or ruining the ratio and warping the look overall of your image. And I'm going to hold Shift while I do this so that it snaps to be perfectly aligned. And then I'm going to hit Enter. And I'm going to use another frame. And you can do this as many times as you like. I personally am only going to add 2 frames to mine, but I'm going to add another one here. I'm going to hold space, and I'm going to drag it to its preferred spot here. Oh, excuse me, I'm on my selection tool. There we go. And I'm going to hold space, and I'm going to drag this out, and I'm going to make sure it's centered according to my guidelines there. And I'm even going to free transform this and make sure that all of the edges are aligned, like so. I'm going to drag that down, kind of put it in the center here, the way I like it. That's pretty close. That's pretty good. And then I'm going to drag another image right over. Ta-da! Okay. I think I am actually going to maybe pull the edges of this out just a little bit more. And then I can resize my photo as I like. All right. I'm going to select my image here. I'm going to transform that, and I'm going to hold Alt and drag that like so. All right, I'm going to zoom in here. And this is just kind of like a cool, inspirational little framed photo here like this. And you can go back into all of the images that are in your frames and you can actually edit them and move them around as you see fit. For example, I kind of want to transform this and make sure that the top of the mountains are not showing in that little bit that's showing there. I kind of want to bump that up and make it so that only the sky is showing there to kind of give it that line of separation like that. And this kind of gives you like a really interesting little palette to start adding text or gradients or whatever you would like to add to kind of spice this up. For me personally, I would add some cool gradients, which you can select from your sidebar here, which is pretty cool. And I'm actually going to select with Alt. You can hold Alt to select your preferred color. And I'm going to select maybe a brighter, lighter color here. And I'm going to come up and make sure that I'm on the mirroring or a reflecting gradient in my gradient tool. And I'm going to drag, after making a new layer here, you can click your layer button here to create a new layer, or you can do the Command-Shift-N if you prefer. And I'm going to drag a little gradient here in the center, holding Shift to make sure I keep my line straight, and add a cool little bar there. And then I'm going to add some text over it, just to give it a little spice and add kind of an interesting little tagline. Like we could do maybe April inspiration. And I'm going to select my text here and come up to the top and change my color. You can either select from the color picker window that comes up when you select the color, or you can just outside of that, it'll give you the color dropper, and you can just pick a cool color. I might actually go for this really nice kind of bluey charcoal color here for the text, and I like that. It shows up nice. And on my text layer, I'm just going to Control-T and transform things. Don't really want to skew it like that. I'm going to drag it out, and I can hold Alt to make sure that it kind of keeps that ratio and makes everything the same, like so. And I'm going to drag this into the center, like that. Maybe make it a little bit larger. And there's a cool little Photoshop Facebook promo thing that you guys can create for your own projects. And you can use the frame tool as often as you want to sort of create this effect. So you guys can do it with different images, or you guys can go for the same sort of color palette that I went with. Sometimes that's easier for me to follow along if I do something very similar to the tutorial I'm following. You folks can even come in after the fact and edit a lot of the elements that we've added. For example, I sort of want the gradient that we added to be a little bit brighter. So I'm going to select that layer with the gradient on it, and I'm going to use hue and saturation to edit the colors. You can use hue and saturation by actually doing Command-U, which will open that panel for you. And I'm going to maybe make it a little more saturated and a little brighter so that it sticks out a little more. So I'm going to bump up that saturation, and then I'm going to make it brighter so it still makes it a little bit light, like this. And then I'm going to go ahead and say OK. And maybe I will even bump down our text just a little bit. There we go. But this is just kind of a cool thing that you folks can use to announce something, or maybe if you do it at a different aspect ratio with different size specifications, you guys could make it look awesome for perhaps Instagram or Twitter. You could even use the elliptical tool for this project. I'm actually going to group these things together, and maybe I can show you how I would go about that. If I click my topmost layer and then the bottommost layer that I'd like to group, and I do Control or Command G, it will actually group everything together, and then suddenly all of those are all in one space, and I can hide and unhide them all at the same time. which is pretty cool and useful. And then on another layer, which I will create using Command-Shift-N, and maybe I'll actually name it this time. I sometimes am not as organized as I should be, and I don't name my layers. I get a little impatient because I'm excited about my design and I don't. But for this example, I will be a good designer and I will name it, and we will call this Phase 2, perhaps. And then I can actually come in, and maybe we'll use the clouds this time. I'll drop some clouds in here like this, and I'm gonna hold Alt and free transform this like so, and bring that down, maybe put those mountains in the center there, and I'm gonna hit enter. I'm gonna lock this layer to make sure that when I use the frame tool over the top of this image, it does not try to put the image into the frame that I drag over it. I'm gonna grab the frame tool. I'm gonna come up to the top here, and I'm gonna hit change the selection there to the different tool. And then I am going to drag, if I can here, drag a new frame, and I'm going to hold Shift to make sure that it's a perfect circle, and I'm going to hold Space as well to drag that out into the proper space, like so. Kind of use my guides there to make sure that I am as in the center as I can be, and I'm going to let that go. Hopefully that adds, I believe I'm actually going to delete this in the group down here to make sure that it's not jumping into any of these frames, because that's probably what my issue is here. And I believe I have a locked layer here, so it will not allow me to. There we go. Let's try this again. I'm gonna make a new layer as well. And I'm gonna grab my frame tool. There we go. Hold Shift and hold Space and place it. Boom. And then I'm going to drag another image right in here, and I'm going to flip it around because I just think that looks cool when you flip all the images around, because it adds a frame without really adding a frame, without worrying about strokes and all that cool stuff. It just adds something that looks really, really cool. And I'm going to hold Shift to make sure it aligns, and I'm going to even drag this over just a little bit like that. I can resize it. And it's basically just the same as we did before, just kind of using a different tool, which I'm really actually loving the circular tool. I've done promos for myself with the other one, but the look of the circular tool is actually really, really great. So you will probably see some more of those from me in the future. And I'm going to place this here like we did this other one, like that, and I'm going to even drag it over just to make a tiny little frame like that, and we're gonna pull another image. Boom. And you can, like I said before, you guys can mix and match your images that you use for this, or you can use the same image as I did. It just kind of makes things look pretty cool when you combine the same, because then all the color palettes and everything are similar. But I encourage you all to kind of experiment with your own images and figure out what you prefer yourself. You guys can maybe it would be cool to see if somebody did like 10 different frames or 20 different frames if you want to, just to see how you can get some pretty cool tiled effects going. With this. I personally, when I choose the images that I like to do for this project, I like to choose the ones that have kind of a split in them. Like this particular picture has a lot of that light, lovely pink on top, and that nice kind of gloomy, sultry blue on the bottom, so that when I flip them around, there's that nice juxtaposition between all of the different shades and hues. But you guys can choose whatever you like, whatever you want, whatever you're feeling. If you guys have followed along with me today, or if you folks have just kind of watched and you're going to come in later and do your own project, please share it in the Discord, because we're going to highlight some of the awesome designs that you folks have created alongside me, and I'm actually going to be jumping into the Discord to check out all of the wonderful things that you have made today. Maybe offer some feedback, or just get to jump in there and see all the things that you guys made after watching me do my thing. I think, you know, we could probably add maybe another gradient, maybe try a blue with this just to kind of add onto it. Let me see if I can do a new layer here. Yes, and there's the Discord link. You guys can find it there. You guys can also go, maybe I can pull up the Daily Creative Challenge page again. You guys can also scroll down to the bottom of the page, and there is a link where you folks can jump in to the Discord if you have not already, and it will look like this when you get in there, and you can come into the design feedback page and add all of the awesome stuff that you guys create. Like I said, I'm going to jump in there and I'm going to offer feedback and kind of leave you guys some comments and stuff, and a lot of you will have a chance to be featured on the stream after posting all of your work. So we're very excited to see that. But yeah, it's been a swell time. I'm gonna be here for the next couple of weeks, actually, doing a new fun little design challenge in between our casts every day, which I'm very excited about. Speaking of which, we actually have a fantastic lineup of designers this week. Maybe we can pull up the schedule here just to show you guys what we've got going on if you're just tuning in and weren't here for the previous stream. Millaway and Melody were up at 9:30 with a fantastic UI UX design stream. Then I'm kind of like sandwiched in the middle there in between the two awesome design streams, and then we're gonna have actually live graphic design with Alex Lazarus coming up right after me today, which should be super fun. He's a great guy, just got to meet him. You guys will love him to death. Adobe Live, thanks, I appreciate it. Kevin Lee, it's very good to see you. I still owe you a drawing of you as a stylish pug. It's gonna happen, it's coming. Christina, it's good to see you. Ashi, it's wonderful to see you as well. And Monir, as always. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add a little gradient to this and some cool text before I sign out. Maybe, like I said before, we'll add like kind of a nice blue color. I'm gonna hit Alt here and I'm gonna select maybe a light baby blue, and I'm going to hold Shift and I'm gonna pull this down to kind of give it like a nice little bar. Honestly, it kind of looks like the surface of like foggy water when we do things this way, which is kind of ominous and spooky. Very magical and voodoo-esque, which is my forte. And I'm going to select the T text tool over here. You can either select it here or you can literally just press the T key to get your text tool. And then I will maybe write welcome to Adobe Live in here, and then we'll select a nice color that kind of contrasts with that. Perhaps we'll get this darker color, or maybe we'll just go with the lighter colors, that nice peachy color. And I will Command T to free transform that, and hold Alt and pull that out. Boom. And there we go. So there you have it, guys. I can't wait to see what you folks create with what we have done here today. I would love to see even how you guys change the style a little bit to maybe fit your own branding, your own sort of social media presence, your own design presence online, and how you use it to advertise your own skills. Maybe you go a simple route with something a little more minimalistic. Maybe you add a bunch more frames using the frame tool and make something that's super crazy and wacky and intricate. But whatever you guys choose, I'm very excited to see it. Again, stay tuned for Alex coming up next with some awesome graphic design. And I appreciate you guys being here with me for this challenge. Don't forget, tomorrow we've got challenge number 2, so I'm gonna see you guys again tomorrow afternoon with some more awesome design, and I can't wait. So it's VooDoo Val signing off, and I will see you guys soon. Adios, everybody.